Props to me for setting my stupid thing up on a box. You know what? We're gonna go without the pop filter for this episode. I'm just gonna make do and try my best. Okay, so this is the first ToonCast after, a 4 or 5 month hiatus? This is mostly due to the fact that I don't like doing things on my channel alone, per se. Well, when it comes to making regular animations, then I'm alright with doing that by myself, but anything else really is just kind of weird. I mean, you can't have a collaboration with one person, right? So it's kind of this thing where I like doing my podcast, and I've tried to do a solo episode before, which is what I'm doing right now, but it just didn't really work out that well because I didn't know how to do a solo podcast because I'm terrible at doing podcasts. But that doesn't matter. I'm gonna try this episode. I'm just gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk and hopefully to get the vibe of what I'm trying to go for here. It's 10 p.m. right now, 10:37 p.m. and it's really late, and I really. All of the times I wanted to do a solo podcast was at prime time. Like, I really wanted to do a podcast where it was late at night, and you could probably, if you're like up late and you're struggling with insomnia or something, then you could probably listen to this podcast and just chill out with me. Bear in mind, I don't know who the frick you are because you're a person behind a computer screen and I'm just an idiot in his closet talking to a microphone, but that doesn't matter. As long as you guys are here and you're enjoying the podcast, and if you want to see more solo episodes where I just talk and have some fun, let me know, because I really do want the ToonCast to stay alive, because, I want it to go on for a long time. I want to get someone on with me, preferably someone from the first episode who happens to also be a pineapple, but I don't know. Hopefully someone can join me as a permanent member of the ToonCast and we can have some fun. But, from now I gotta do some solo episodes because, one, I like hearing myself talk because my voice is pretty nice thanks to this new microphone that I'm growing to hate a little bit more now. Second, there's not a whole lot of people I know who make content that I actually deem fit. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but most of the people who wanted to be on my podcast are just a bunch of 12-year-old kids, and I don't want to do that, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to stick with myself, and if someone from the past wants to come back, someone from a past episode wants to come back on a returning episode and talk about whatever the frick they want on the next episode, then all right. But I've been rambling about the ToonCast for a couple of minutes now. I've spent like 5 minutes just trying to set up the pop filter, which I'm not even going to use anymore because it's just so hard. Anyway, I got a pop with me. I got a pop with me. So if you got a drink nearby, let's. It's Diet A&W root beer. It's really good. You see, I kind of like this microphone because you can. That's the sound of the fizz of my Coke. That's really cool because this microphone's a lot more professional than my Blue Snowball. If you're wondering, it's the Blue Yeti. I got it for my birthday. I paid it out of my own pocket because my parents and grandparents gave me a bunch of money, and I was like really happy. So you can't beat $104 for a really good microphone, okay? That root beer's good. Anyway, we're just gonna chill out. We're just gonna have fun. We're gonna talk about a couple of things, maybe some life stories. Talk about my work, I guess, and let's get started. I don't know why I want to start off with this, but in 1994, some old lady named Stella was scorched by McDonald's coffee. From what I remember, the story is this lady named Stella Liebeck or something, I don't know. She went to McDonald's and she was like, you know what, I want a coffee today. So she got a coffee. She ended up spilling it on her lap, and for some reason McDonald's made the coffee so hot that it scorched her lap, and basically she was scarred for the rest of her life. I mean, for whatever life left she had, 'cause she was kind of old. Really morbid, Mateo. I don't know why I wanted to start off with that. It was just written down here. So some lady in 1994 was scorched by coffee. And hopefully my phone is silenced because Discord is going freaking crazy right now. I should be in bed. I really should be in bed, but I'm not because frick that. Let me talk about the music I'm into. Let's just talk about music in general. What music is Mateo into recently? Well, for the past 5 months, if you guys haven't known through multiple references in my recent videos, I recently got into Gorillaz. Their music is just absolutely astonishing, and I love every single album, even Humans, like even that album, being regarded as one of the worst Gorillaz album, if not the worst Gorillaz album, it's still got some hidden gems in there, like Busted in Blue, The Apprentice, Andromeda. There are so many good songs in Humans. I'm going to make a whole video about the Gorillaz albums. Like, I'm going to go through each and every album and review them all. It's going to be a brief review of each album, mind you, so, it's not going to be the biggest review ever of every single Gorillaz album ever, but, yeah. Gorillaz is going to be a favorite band of mine for a long time when it comes to hip-hop and stuff like that, because, I initially, for most of my life, I've never been into hip-hop before, but Gorillaz is what got me into hip-hop and, like, lo-fi and stuff like that. I had been listening to lo-fi for a long time at that point because I just like the chill vibe of the whole genre, and if you could tell by my most recent songs and stuff, the day this podcast is going up, there's also going to be a video and a song coming up, so... yeah, if you listen to the song and, that was heavily inspired by the original Gorillaz album from 2001, and I super enjoy Gorillaz. Their music is just so great, and I really loved the Now, the most recent album, and all the cartoons that have been coming out with that. One released today, as I'm recording this, November 15th, They released like a little thing where it was just 2D and Noodle having a conversation with the dude who made the G-Shock watches. I was like, oh, that's so cool how they're releasing all this little Gorillaz Bites-esque stuff along with, the Now and how that came out recently. The Now, it's the first album I have ever listened to in general that I've loved every single song because... I don't know what the heck Damon Albarn did, but he was like, you know what, I'm just going to make a quick little Gorillaz album, and then he made a masterpiece, really, because that album is incredible. I have it on CD, but the Gorillaz album I want on CD the most is Plastic Beach. Plastic Beach is my favorite Gorillaz album. I guess that goes for a lot of people because, Plastic Beach just has so many great songs and so many memorable titles like Stylo and On Melancholy Hill, just... all these great little tunes that I personally just would not live without if I hadn't heard Gorillaz. But, it's really weird how I initially knew about Gorillaz for the longest time because my dad, he makes his own music and he has his own weird kind of way of making his music, which I honestly find very Gorillaz-esque now that we're both into Gorillaz. He came to me one day and he said, hey, Mateo, do you want to animate a music video for me like how these guys did it? And then I saw the video for Feel Good Inc. And then I just knew of this band that just made this music, and I just didn't really think of it as any other hip-hop band, really. Until I listened to their music, in which I loved them, and I fell in love with Gorillaz. The first album I had ever listened to by Gorillaz was the Now, which is why I love it so much, but... I think the first Gorillaz song I listened to was Humility or Clint Eastwood. I don't know. I remember one or the other because Humility has stuck with me. Like, I cannot get that song out of my head. And that DJ Bose remix was amazing, and I love it. I don't know if it was DJ Bose who did that. I don't know. It was some DJ who remixed the song, and it was really good. And Clint Eastwood, I take a lot of inspiration from that song for my own songs with that simple yet complex kind of way of doing things, Gorillaz is just a really good band, but straying away from hip-hop for a little bit, I also am still into metal. I'm super, super into power metal. If you guys know me, I have loved Dragon Force for almost 5 years now. Their music is just so cool. But I've been getting into other bands recently, too, like Glory Hammer and Stradivarius and Sonata Arctica, like all of these. I don't listen to Sonata Arctica that much because I don't think their music is really that good. I'm sorry, but some of their songs are great, but they're just not really my brand of power metal. But Dragon Force and Glory Hammer, especially Glory Hammer as of recent, their music is just so darn cool and so darn good. And I heard recently from the Dragon Force Instagram that they're beginning to write a new album and they're beginning to record a new album. One of the guitarists, no joke, he's gonna use banjo in that album. I don't know how he's gonna do that, but he's gonna use banjo in the next album apparently, which is just fun. Another thing about music before we go on to the next topic. I'm still making music. Mateo Toons, which is Tunes instead of Toons, which is a super clever thing to do, I know. More music is coming. And honestly, the song that I made that's going to coincide with this video and this podcast, it took me like 2 days to finish. Like, I just sat down and recorded some, improvised piano. I don't really know how I did it. I just improvised some piano pieces and then threw a beat over it and threw some bass over it and, just had some fun, making a vibe, and it was really fun to make. And I don't really know what the song is called, but I called it Chill, so I think it's just going to be called Chill. I'm just taking a drink of my root beer. I gotta take another sip, so good. That stuff is delicious. Anyway, I hope one day that I'll have enough songs that I can make an EP. I really do want to make, because I'm really into lo-fi hip hop, and I'm somehow kind of good at making that kind of thing. I take a lot of inspiration from Gorillaz and Joji. If you guys don't know who Joji is, he used to be Filthy Frank, and now he's making really good music. I like his songs, Don't Rain on Me and Slow Dancing in the Dark. I don't know the names of his other songs, but they're all the same thing, really. They've got this amazing chill vibe to them, and I don't really listen to lo-fi for the music. I just like listening to listen to it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like just vibing, belch. It's kind of just like vibing, and oh no, I hope I don't have hiccups during this recording. Just chilling out to the music, it's like having smooth jazz being played in the background. You don't really listen for anything particular in the music, you just kind of listen to it. It's just kind of zoning out with you. And I really do want to make music like that, like music that doesn't really have a lot of thought. You don't really need to put a lot of thought into it to enjoy it, you know what I mean? It's like I really love music like that, and I really do hope one day in the next year I'll be able to make my own EP and have some fun doing that or whatever, because honestly, I've always played music. I've been playing the ukulele for like 6 years at this point, and I love playing the ukulele. The ukulele is my favorite instrument, and now I've recently gotten into piano and synths and playing the guitar and stuff, and I'm just getting into all these brand new instruments, and that's mostly thanks to my dad and musical inspiration from left and right when it comes to musicians I'm into now, because we have a studio downstairs that's completely dedicated to being a studio. So we're all making music now, and I'm really happy with how most of my songs are turning out. And now me and my dad have each other's backs, and we're critiquing our own music. And I'm looking at my dad's song, and he's looking at my song. And we're just like seeing what could or couldn't be done. It's really fun. So yeah, I'm into Gorillaz and Glory Hammer, and now I'm making more music. So that's cool. I'm not going to talk about that yet. I don't know if many of you guys on YouTube know this, but I recently tested the waters of merchandise. If you could count recently as the last 7 months or 7 months ago, I went onto Teespring and put my logo onto a pillow and a poster. I tried to do a poster, but for some reason Teespring just never sent me the poster, which was stupid of them to do because I really wanted to see my thing on a poster. But it's really, it was so surreal to see my thing on a pillow. Here's a photo of it, by the way. It's just this little Mateo Toons pillow. Like, I really can't explain it any further, but it's just a Mateo Toons pillow that I just took my profile picture, I added Mateo Toons to it, and then I did another side where I put the pixel glasses and I said Mateo Toons but cooler. I'm really happy about this because, I know now that Teespring is a good way to go if I ever do want to make merch. And on top of that, I have my Beef Shakes t-shirt, which is a collaboration between me and Master Eth, which I did, I think back in May. Ethan came to me and he was like, "Hey man, you want to help me design some merch?" And I was like, "Oh, do pigs fly?" Of course. So I went over to him and he was like, just draw a Beef Shakes thing, man. I was like, okay. And so I drew a Beef Shakes thing. It was literally the first thing. I was like, I can make some changes if you want to. And he was like, absolutely not. This is perfect. I love everything about this little Beef Shakes dude and I want it on a shirt. So he put it on a freaking shirt and also he put it on a mug. My dad has the mug downstairs and it's amazing, except he doesn't use it as a mug because he has a really good water bottle, but that's besides the point. I know now that Teespring is a really good way to go if I do want to make some merch, but I am nowhere near big enough to where people would like to buy my thing. I know some of you might say that, but you're probably just being nice. I really don't want to sound mean, but you don't need to buy my thing yet. Maybe if I garner around 25,000 subscribers, except that's probably going to be impossible because I'm at 350. So, merch is a long shot at this point, but I was happy I can't speak. I was happy to test my waters. I was happy to test the waters, and honestly, it's a good design. It's a really, really good design. The shirt, it's my thing, and it comes from Teespring, so, it's like, fine, that's enough proof I need to know that I can make my own Mateo Toons shirts. The pillow, I'm making another pillow. Like, the pillow is awesome. And, the stinking, the mug, the Beef Shakes mug. I'm really happy about the Beef Shakes mug. Master Eth does have more merch. If you guys would like to see more of Master Eth's merch, please go click the link in the description to his Teespring website so that way you can see all the great shirts, including mine. But there's other great shirts on there, like Master Eth is my mom, Number Blue is wrong, and just a regular Master Eth t-shirt, I think. But yeah, Teespring is cool when it comes to merch, and hopefully someday I'll be able to make my own merch, which is really, really fun to say. Let's drift into another realm of Mateo's mind, shall we? I don't know how long I've been recording at this point, but I don't care. How about we take another sip? I think it's been about 20 minutes. I don't know. Let's, that's good. Yeah, I'm thinking now that if I write down some more stuff, I could do more solo podcasts, because this is kind of fun. Yeah, let's continue to grocery stores, why don't we? Going to a grocery store, honestly, at this point, I think I should clarify this. If you're an older fan of my channel, you might know from about a year and a half ago, I think, I made a video about stores, and I claimed that for almost a year now, I've been trying to make this video, and while that is true, the stores video was a year in development at that point because I just freaking could not get that video to be where I wanted it to be, and if I did, it would always get deleted for some reason. I don't know why, but, when it comes to grocery stores, that video is, it's okay. It's a fine video for what it's supposed to be doing. I don't know what the frick it was supposed to be doing, but it's just not the greatest video. I think I can say about that. I could say that about a lot of my old videos because, I've grown a lot as a content creator these past few years, and I think it's safe to say that Mateo Toons is definitely not what it used to be, really. And that's a good thing because I really like the way my content is going right now while still maintaining the way I used to do things, but a lot better. But I wonder why the lights just flickered. I don't know. Kind of strange. Anyway, when it comes to my old videos, I'm not really happy with how they turned out. Because, I wasn't using the technology that was required to make something of quality, or at least something of what I wanted to do. It was just so crazy, looking back on it now, how I was able to do videos like that. But in regards of grocery stores, when I made that video, I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. Of course, it took me a long time to make. I'm just kidding. The video itself took about 2 days to complete. No video, and I repeat, no video I have ever made has taken 2 days to complete. I always end up slacking off in between. I always end up doing something else. Unless, of course, I don't give a flip and I want the video to come out as soon as possible. Which is not good because Mateo is picky about his quality. And when Mateo is picky about his quality, his videos become better. So, with that in mind, with the stores video, which is a 12-minute long video, how the frick was I able to finish it in 2 days? I don't know. I do not know, nor do I care really. The stores video is a mistake. So I'm going to talk a little bit about stores in this podcast because why not, right? I think it's fun that, stores exists. I'm going to miss the day. I'm going to hate the day when we're all in our cars and we don't even need to get up to go to the store anymore because I like going to the store. That's the whole point of a store. You go to it and you get the thing you like. Even you might say, Mateo, online shopping is such an innovative idea. Yes and no. Because when you buy something online that seems like it's good, that's already a red flag. Because I just said it seems good. You don't know if it is good, and you also don't know if the ratings tell you enough. You're seeing all these people say, this one is good, or this one is good, or this one is even better than the one I said was good. But you never know because it's not right in front of you. It's not physical. You can't see it yet. You buy it anyway. But then when it comes to the door, there's always something wrong with it. So it's stupid to assume that in the future there's going to be enough technology to where we don't even need to get out of our cars to go to a store. It's kind of stupid, really, because you always go online. You go to places like Amazon or eBay. I'm basing the entirety of 12 Days of Toons this year just on eBay because it's so crappy. But when it comes to Amazon and eBay and Craigslist, you don't know if it's good until it actually arrives at your door or in the mail because when you open that box and you see the thing is good, it's like 20 pounds being lifted off your chest. But weirdly enough, when you go to a store and you look at the thing and you see the thing in front of you, oh wow, you know it's good, and then you take it home. It's just so crazy to assume that it's just weird, okay? I don't really need to go any further than that. But I'm going to miss the day. Am I going to miss the day. I just don't know if we're going to have the technology advanced enough to freaking just drive into a grocery store and have a rack. I saw this simulation of a grocery store in the future where it was like, we don't even need to get out of our cars, where it was like this weird rack of some sort that would just like rotate. But what if the thing you want is not on that rack? Are you forced to like drive to another thing? Or is it just like a regular old grocery store except there's cars everywhere? Do you have any idea how big the building would need to be in order for that to work? Because cars, if you didn't know, are actually quite big. It's meant to fit like 7 people if you got a truck. It's meant to fit like 4 or 5 people in a car, but in a truck, it's even worse because people like having big trucks, okay? I would know since my family likes having a big truck. So if we were to go into a massive grocery store where there's enough freaking space for cars to be in there, that'd be crazy. It'd be like a 4-way stop, except everyone's trying to get Oreos. It's probably the best thing I've said this whole podcast. It's like a 4-way stop, except everyone's trying to get Oreos. It's like a 4-way stop with, lights. I literally one time when the power was out, like the whole city's power was out because of this huge thunderstorm that came for some reason. And the whole city's power was out. And, we were at this 4-way stop and it was a traffic light 4-way stop. So there weren't any stop signs to clearly tell us whether we should stop or go. It was just, nobody knew what to do because, it's the golden rule. If the power is out and you're at a 4-way stop with stoplights, treat it like a normal 4-way stop with stop signs. You don't just assume, oh, do I go? Oh, do I go? I don't know. Where am I going with this? I don't even know. I'm talking about 4-way stops and I lost track of the freaking grocery store thing. But man, oh man, grocery stores in the future are going to be weird, aren't they? It's just we're all going to have computer chips in our brains telling us whether or not we can buy food. Oh boy, food. But, there is some joy to be found in grocery stores. That's why I love going to stores so much. I love going to stores and window shopping. It's really weird going to places like Walmart and window shopping. I have a couple of Walmarts in my town, obviously, because Albuquerque is a huge place, so we got to have a lot of Walmarts because we're physically huge, if you know what I mean. But, we have a lot of Walmarts here, so I love going to Walmart naturally because I've been going there all my life. All my life! I've been going there all my life, all right? And, I just like going to Walmart, so to see all these things there, it just brings me comfort that, hey, humanity hasn't gone down the crap hole after all because we've got all these great things to help us live, For example, I'm drinking a Diet AW root beer that tastes flippin' amazing. It sounded like I hit a bong just now, but I did not hit a bong. Anyway, I like going to grocery stores and seeing all the knockoff products they got there. Knockoff products, if you guys don't know, or if you live in some kind of place where knockoff products are the norm, this is not Fruit Loops, but this is. I don't even know what Fruity Loopies are, but like Fruit Loops are normal Fruit Loops, okay? Like the bird on there, Toucan Sam, or whatever the frig his name is. But Fruity Loopies, that does not compute in my brain. And the strangest thing with knockoff cereal is how big the bags they get are. I don't understand why you gotta have a bag of cereal as massive as a sack of potatoes, but apparently you have to, according to Walmart, otherwise they wouldn't sell things this big. Because I just don't know. It does not compute. It does not compute. I don't know why you would need this many Frosted Flakes or this many Lucky Charms, but they're not even Frosted Flakes. They're Frosty Flakies and Lucky Charmies. I don't even know how to compute this, really. And it's not just the cereal that receives knockoffs. It's basically every single brand in the store. Like flagship brands like Red Baron and DiGiorno, they all got knockoff brands, but specifically the Coke. I don't know why, but people like to bandwagon off of Coke. They like to make their own versions of Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper and A&W. It's just the strangest concept ever. Like, why would I go into a store and buy Dr. Thunder and not Dr. Pepper when I'm more experienced with Dr. Pepper, but you're telling me that, oh no, Dr. Pepper's not good enough and I gotta buy Dr. Thunder? I don't get it. What's the point of these stupid knockoffs when I'm not going to buy them? Who in their right mind would buy Dr. Thunder? I just don't get it. Why would you go out of your way to get like Dr. Cola? Seriously, like at Whole Foods, like it's even worse. The Coke tastes there tastes like toothpaste, okay? The Coke there tastes like literal mouthwash and toothpaste. It's horrible. Basically take like a mouthwash, like Crest mouthwash, and put it in a soda stream. It's that bad, okay? It leaves this horrible taste in your mouth. The Coke at Whole Foods is a whole other realm in and of itself, because the few times I've been into a Whole Foods, it's actually kind of nice. Going to a Whole Foods, you see all these great things there that make you feel healthy. Going into a Whole Foods just makes you feel healthy, okay? You're not really achieving anything except for mental healthness, because mental healthness, is that even a word? Mental health. You go into a Whole Foods and it tells you, hey, you're in a Whole Foods, man, you're healthy. But that just goes too far sometimes. Like, if you're gonna get Coke, get Diet Coke. It's not gonna kill you, okay? Me and my family drink Diet Coke all the time, and I've actually grown a taste for Diet Coke more than actual Coke. Granted, having a Coke once in a while is not a bad thing. But I love Diet Dr. Pepper more than regular Dr. Pepper, and I don't even know why. It just tastes better to me because it's kind of an acquired thing over the years. But to go into a Whole Foods and purchase one of their Cokes is like buying a small bottle of cyanide. It's the worst Coke you will ever drink. And if you're one of the few people out there who actually do drink this Coke, I don't believe it. I don't believe you. I genuinely do not believe you. I just don't get it why there are so many of these knockoff brands. It's like I love walking into a store and seeing something that's like, have I seen that before? And then I go back and then it's like Toy Stool. and it's not Toy Story. It's Toy Story 4. And it's like Woody as a mech or something. And I'm like, this is the craziest crap ever. But luckily for me, I'm not alone in this, because there are accounts upon accounts on social media dedicated to just showing you a bunch of knockoff stuff. And I love those accounts because I like seeing all the knockoffs. But when it comes to grocery stores, all the knockoffs I see are either in the cereal aisle or in the Coke aisle. Nowhere else do I see any other knockoffs. But with multiple brands, it kind of makes sense. Like Lucky Charms, you would obviously want to bandwagon off of that because it's like a monopoly in the cereal industry, obviously. But with water, what's the difference? What's the difference between Fiji water and Nestle water? It's water. I genuinely do not get this. How come there are so many brands of water when all they're selling is water? Go to the ocean and purify the water. Wow, you made water that's good for drinking. Wow, mind blown, really, because it's so stupid how there are so many brands of water. It's like that, like every single time I go into a store or like I go into a Target or something, all the water is on the back wall. They're like, you gotta go throughout the store to get your water. You're not gonna get it right as you walk in, unless of course you ask for a water cup and get soda instead. I don't know, but it's just so weird how many brands of water there are. The same company that sells me my chocolate milk also makes water. I don't get that. And I just don't get it. Listen, if you're gonna go spend your money on knockoff cereal, more power to you. Fine. If you wanted to make that financial decision, then sure, it's not my money. So prove me wrong if it's good. I don't know. It's probably the large quantities of the cereal. Like I've seen bags of this cereal as big as the moon, man. It's horrible how much cereal is being sold to these poor people, because really all they're promoting is diabetes, but I don't know. What do I know? Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a stinking doctor. I'm not stupid. I love walking into the store, seeing all the stuff they got. But if it's off-brand, then, it gives me more of an excuse to take it home and show the world how stupid it is. Oh, boy. Another thing with grocery stores is all of the different coffee. See, myself, I love coffee, okay? I can't survive without coffee. The first cup of coffee I had was this big old bowl mug of coffee. Like literally, it was a mug that was the size of a bowl. It was huge. I don't know where my parents acquired this mug. I don't know what it was used for, but my dad gave me this big giant cup of coffee, and I was like, oh, what's this? And he's like, oh, it's coffee, son, have some. And I was 8 years old, and it was like 6 a.m, so I was naturally sort of awake, but sort of tired. So I had the coffee, and it woke me right up. It was like 1 p.m. at 6 a.m. It was crazy. Now, like 7 years later, I am 15, and I cannot go one day without drinking at least 23 million cups of coffee. Of course, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I actually really drink about 2 or 3 cups a day because coffee is so delicious. But, over the years, I thought there was just one big coffee brand. But no, apparently not, because there are like 2 million different brands of coffee. What are you doing different? What is the difference between this coffee at Starbucks and this coffee at Dunkin' Donuts? I don't know what different coffee beans they're harvesting, but hazelnut coffee at Dunkin' Donuts and hazelnut coffee at Starbucks can't be different because it's hazelnut coffee. I don't get it. And weirdly enough, every single time, we have a coffee machine at home, right? It's just a natural assumption. I don't go out every morning to buy coffee. That's stupid, waste of money. But we have a coffee machine in the house, and my parents, my mom especially, she always comes home with this different coffee all the time. It's mostly Starbucks because we like Starbucks at our house. I mean, I can't survive without the Starbucks iced coffee, honestly, because it's just so delicious. But with all the different brands of coffee, you got to run out of ideas eventually. It's so bizarre how many brands of coffee there are. I sound high right now, but bear in mind, it's like 11 at night and I'm really tired, but let the podcast go on, shall it? I don't understand, because every single time I brew a new cup of coffee and I get coffee in the morning and I put hazelnut cream with it and a Splenda packet and mix it and drink it, it tastes the same every single time. I don't know what the difference between Mike's coffee and Joe's coffee is, except for the names. Those are literally the only difference in these coffees is the name. So I don't know. Why waste your money on so many different brands of coffee? Why even get like a stinking Keurig? Why get a Keurig when you can brew a big pot of coffee and just have it at that? A regular pot of coffee is like a giant Keurig. If you like drinking the entire pot in one go, honestly, I would know. But, fine. If coffee is this big an industry that people need to make multiple brands of it, then who am I to judge? I don't know. It's just weird, okay? It's coffee, man. I tell you, it's like the best thing ever. I can't believe the first cup of coffee I ate. I really need to stop slouching, man. My back is gonna get bad. I can't believe the first cup of coffee I had was this big old bowl cup of coffee. It's just, honestly, that was a life-changing day for me. That was, because I absolutely love coffee now, because it's like the best drink ever, aside from Diet Dr. Pepper, which I cannot survive without. Anyway, let's talk about something else, shall we? How about some life stories? Sit down, kids, and get comfortable, because we're gonna have some fun. Hopefully the next few episodes of the ToonCast will just be me talking, but hopefully sometime after Christmas I'll be able to have this little keyboard I'm getting, and I'll be able to just goof around with that and have some fun and have some musical sound effects with the podcast, because that sounds fun. But anyway, life stories. What do I have to talk about? I don't know. Let's start off with this one. So, one day, I'd say about a year ago at this point, actually no, about a year and a half ago at this point, it was the summer of 2017 or 16, I can tell because this was around the time I began to grow my hair out, and we had this car, this truck, the Chevy Suburban. We had that car for the longest time, for as long back as I can remember. We have had the Chevy Suburban, and it was a fantastic vehicle. Even though it was one from like 2004 or 5, I don't know. It was an old car, okay, at that point. It was like a 15-year-old car. It was a great car. It was a fantastic car. It did everything we needed. It had the proper air conditioning until we used it for about a decade and a half, and it just started to break down a little bit. So naturally, the car was getting old, and we had to take it to a repair shop to get the tires fixed. I don't even know what the heck we had to do with the tires. I'm trying to remember, but it had something to do with the tire in general. Maybe there was like a hole punctured in it or something, or like a rock was stuck in the tire. I don't even know. We had to go to this place. By the way, if you're wondering what happened to the Chevy Suburban that we used to have, my mom got in a car crash. She's okay right now, so don't worry about it. She's perfectly fine. But yeah, she was in a car crash and that car was totaled. Here's a photo if I can pull it up. Thanks, courtesy of my mom. She had a bad night that night. Anyway, we had to go to this repair shop. Okay, so we went to this repair shop to get something up with the tires. It was like a whole shop dedicated to tires and other knickknacks and whatever. So we went to this lady behind the counter. We were like, "Hey, our tire is all fricked up. Do you want to check it out?" And then she's like, "Okay, yes, I check it out." So keep in mind, this lady is like a 5-foot tall Hispanic lady. She is super nice and super, super delicate, and she's really helpful with everything. And she's getting through her job, having a great time, just talking to people and helping them. Great lady. I give that place a 10 out of 10 if she continues to work there. But if she leaves, I'm giving whatever place she works at next a 10 out of 10 because that lady was super nice. So this Hispanic lady is helping us with our tires. Of course, I know jack rabbit about cars, so I'm just sitting around, farting around on my phone, watching Dragon Ball, and just chilling out. And then we have to wait. We have to wait for a long, long, long time. A really long time. So long, in fact, that we actually had to leave the building and go do something else because we were so flippin' bored. Thankfully, there was a mall right next to us with all of the stuff. So me and my dad, it was just me and my dad, by the way. So me and my dad were like, all right, fine, let's go browse around the mall. Not like we had any money to spend or anything because it was all going to the tires, but whatever. But we went into the mall. We had some fun in there. Nothing, of course, happened because we did not have any cash and we were spending all of our cash on the car. So me and my dad eventually walk out of that mall and we call up our mom. We call our mom? What the heck? We call up my mom, my dad's wife, and we're like, hey, Mom, come get us, please, because we're bored out of our minds, and we would like to get the heck out of here. So my mom's like, oh, well, babe, just call your mom, and then, so now we got to call our grandma. So we call our grandma, and she comes over and picks us up. Actually, no. I'm skipping way far ahead. So my grandma says she'll be there in a little bit. In reality, no, she was not going to be there in a little bit because it took her about an hour to arrive. In that hour, me and my dad go back to the building and we go into this waiting room which had a television. Thank God they were playing Cartoon Network. Otherwise, I would have been completely blitzed bored, okay? Unfortunately for me, though, now that I'm remembering it, they played nothing but Teen Titans Go. And if you guys don't know, Teen Titans Go is the worst show on Cartoon Network, by far. I tried to watch the movie, and I got 20 minutes in, and I immediately quit because it was horrible. Anywho, let me take a sip of my soda to calm down. So we go into this waiting room and we see this guy there. So my dad, being who he is, he naturally wants to be the guy who strikes up a conversation. So he strikes up a conversation with this really nice dude. He had been waiting there since 9 a.m. 9 in the morning. Can you guess what time it was when we were sitting in that room? 1:30 in the afternoon. This guy had been waiting there for like 5 or 7 hours at that point. Actually, no, let me count. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 1. Yeah, so about 6 hours. The guy was sitting there for about 6 hours. I feel that guy, okay? I totally get that waiting around is horrible. So, of course, he would want to strike up a conversation with my dad. So my dad and this guy are talking, and the dude, the only information I got from him was that he had been there since 9 a.m. So the next thing that happens is I hear this yelling coming from the room where we walked into. So the front counter, there's the lady, the really nice lady that I was talking about, the really nice Hispanic lady. And, sorry, I'm just biting my nail. And I hear this yelling. And I'm sitting right next to the door, right? So luckily I'm able to peep over and see what the frick is happening in that room because Lord knows it was not good because I look over and I see this dude with a face that is tomato red. This guy looks like a fire truck. He is so red and so angry. And he has what looks to be a dead car battery with him. So I think he was there to get his car battery replaced or repaired or something, because he apparently wasn't having it with his car battery, and he really wanted to get it fixed. So apparently this Hispanic lady told him, okay, you're just going to have to wait for a little bit because we're kind of busy right now. And they were, because there were like 5 dudes in there working on 10 cars. So there were these 5 mechanics in there working on 10 cars. So obviously it was really, really busy that day. And, I'm trying to jog my memory real quick. I'm kind of thinking about this on the spot right now because I just now remembered it on the script. So the dude gets blisteringly angry, and he's just sitting there waiting for this woman to just do something on the phone. And right as that happens, my grandma shoots me a text saying, wait for me outside, and I'll be there in about 15 minutes, and then you can get your dad when I'm here. So my dad urges me to go outside. So I tell him, should I go outside? He's like, yeah, go outside. And I go outside, and I lean up against the wall looking like a cool 13-year-old boy when I was really a freaking fat potato with a stupid haircut. And I'm leaning against the wall, looking at my phone, pretending like I'm the coolest kid on the planet. And this dude busts through the doors, and he comes outside, and And I was afraid to walk past him, honestly, when I was walking out of the store. I kind of kept looking at him. He was super angry with this stupid car battery on a dolly that looked like it was made out of paper clips. And he comes out of the shop, and he throws this car battery back. He throws this car battery into his trunk, which is stupid because why would you throw your car battery when you want it to get repaired? See, I just can't make this connection, folks. So he gets in his car and he drives away. And then I'm like, what? You came here to get your car battery repaired, correct? How are you driving? Unless it's powered by a flux capacitor or something, you should not be driving this car because there's a car battery in your trunk. So the dude drives away, and I think now that I'm thinking about it now, he probably was getting it repaired for a buddy who kept pestering him about it. He's like, "Go get my car battery fixed." He was like, "Cletus, I can't get your car battery fixed. I'm so deep in debt right now." Whoa, I added like a really big lore to that suddenly. Freaking poor Jimbo, man. He's super deep in debt, and he's trying to get his friend Cletus's car battery fixed, but he can't because he's so deep in debt. I made a plot. What time is it? It is currently 11:21. I think I've been recording this podcast for about an hour. So, yeah, this dude drives away, and he just left it at that. And then my dad... We get into my grandma's car when she arrives, and my dad is like, "Yeah, let's just get out of here," because my dad is kind of impatient when it comes to waiting for a long time. And honestly, I won't blame him, because if you know, you just don't have the tolerance that the dude in the waiting room does. Waiting 6 hours for your car to get fixed. I mean, clearly you would wait 6 hours because it's your car and you would like to drive away instead of walk away. So, you know, it just makes the most sense. I think I'm almost done. We can talk about another life story real quick. Ouch. That Coke did not go down correctly. Ow. Yikes. Let's talk about something else, huh? Let's talk about Swords Kid. Let's talk about my comic that has been kind of under wraps for a long time. So, for those of you who don't know, in June of this year, I released a comic called Swords Kid, aiming for it to be the final hurrah of the Swords Kid series. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the way the comic is going. It just hasn't been releasing as frequently as I'd like it to, and there are far more reasons than I can count then that there are a lot of reasons as to why the comic has not been releasing its pages as much as I'd like it to. Number one, I hated the designs of the characters. They all looked bland as cardboard, and I really wanted to change that. So I changed them. I changed Jordan's design, I changed Seth's design, and I changed Regis's design. And I added a whole new character to the story, which I am super happy with. Her name is Aethra. And Aethra is kind of like this sorcerer, kind of wizard character who only has fire powers. And if she's in a situation where her fire power is not enough, she has these potions in a bag that they're just different potions. I'll try to develop more, but you know, stretching out my back as I'm slouching. Yeah. I also added a villain character. His name is Captain Czar. He is a I don't really know how else to describe him. He is a very weird character. He is a robotic skeleton from outer space, and he wants the sword that Jordan has. And trust me, it sounds kind of stupid, but I know it sounds stupid, and I'm going to try and make it sound not stupid by working it into the story. But you know, when you think about any good story that's a good story, you know, like a sea sponge wants to be a fry cook. That's kind of stupid, but it's developed, so it's good. A fat panda wants to be a kung fu warrior. What on earth? Well, that's Kung Fu Panda, and it's one of the greatest movies of all time. You know, some hobbit from the Shire wants to take this ring to Mount Doom. That sounds cool, but how are we going to develop it? Well, we developed it, and it's one of the most amazing movies of all time. Some teenage kid is in a punk rock band, and now he wants to defeat 7 evil exes. Scott Pilgrim. I'm going to try and make it something like that. Something that's ridiculous, but at the same time, it's incredible to read. I don't know if I'll be able to achieve anything like that, but from any story I've seen or have read, most of the time it's written by one person, unless of course it's the Bible, but it's written by one person, and then it's just a bunch of other people supervising the project and helping with it, So I hope that my writing skills do me justice and I can make the comic as good as it can be. And of course, in the future with my merch situation, like I discussed earlier in the podcast, I'll be able to release Swords Kid merchandise like a plush or a pillow or even a poster, hopefully. Just a poster would be enough for me because I really, 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 really want Swords Kid to become a physical comic. I want Swords Kid to be printed. I want you guys to read the physical comic. I don't want it to be just a webcomic, you know what I'm saying? I might be shooting for the stars at this point, but this is the 4th or 3rd time I've tried to reincarnate Swords Kid. But this time, I'm confident. I am absolutely confident in it, and I think this is a good way to end the podcast. So we've talked about a lady getting her legs scorched by coffee in 1994 in my town. We've talked about knockoff brands. We've talked about me getting stuck at a repair shop with this guy who looked like some old coot from the 1900s. We've talked about a lot this episode of the podcast. And honestly, this went a lot better than the first time I tried to do this. This went a lot better than the 15th time I tried to do this. I think I'm naturally just better recording at nighttime. You see what I mean? You belch a lot more often. Yeah. Thank you guys. I don't know how to end a podcast. I haven't done it in a really long time. I think I just say that's a wrap, folks. But thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Thank you for visualizing everything in your head. If you are the kind of person who does that and sees yourself doing these weird antics, and thanks for listening to my podcast. If you'd like to see what? It's a podcast. You don't see anything. If you'd like to hear more solo podcasts, if I can even come up with anything for a solo podcast episode too, let me know in the comments. If you guys really liked this episode of the ToonCast, I think it's episode 7 we're on or something. I don't know. Then, tell me, because I really like the ToonCast to stay alive, and if I can get a guest on, then I'll get a guest on, because that's just fun. But if you like the solo episode format a lot more, then let me know, because I really like doing podcasts and just pouring my heart out for a little bit, So yeah, thank you guys for listening. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Actually, the next video released today. What am I talking about? It's a video about holidays and also a new song, so I hope you guys enjoyed those if you watched those before listening to this podcast. I'll see you guys in the next video or podcast or a song or garbage town video. Goodbye.